Alrighty, gonna can up some deer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and trim off all the fat, all the silver skin, all the connective tissue, so that it's just meat. Just meat. This has been sitting in a brown sugar and salt water brine for the last few days. So it's all nice and ready to go. Rinse it and then start trimming it up. This was, I want to say this was the back strap that we had talked about earlier. Remember? Yeah, see? Right off the spine. Anyway, while it was hanging, I cut most of the silver skin off. So I've got very little to trim off. Once it's trimmed, it's diced up and it's put into a cold jar till we fill it all the way up to where that first band on the top meets the neck of the jar. So you'll leave about an inch of headspace, and I'm going to use the back of a rubber spatula to push as much of the air out as possible. For each quart jar, I'm going to put in, I put in about half a tablespoon of kosher salt. Some people only put in, you know, like a teaspoon, but I like my stuff to be kind of salty when it comes out, because I find that it loses saltiness as it ages. Anyway, put it in there, put it inside of a cold pressure canner, and you're going to go ahead and tighten it down and turn it on. Everything's cold, the water inside of it, and everything's cold. Turn it on and bring it so that it starts boiling. Put your lid on, wait till you got a steady steam coming out of your vent hole. Once the vent hole is a nice steady steam, you're going to put on your 10 pounds of pressure, and then you're going to set it for 90 minutes. Once 90 minutes is up, turn it off. If you are using gas, then when you turn it off, just leave it until it stops rattling and everything and the pressure's down. If you have a pressure gauge on it, make sure that it doesn't have any pressure left in it before you remove the top. You don't want to force it cold. You don't want to pull off your weight off of it. You don't want to do any of that, because what you could cause is the liquids inside of this to come out. And you don't want that to happen, because as this cooks, it's going to make its own broth, and that is absolutely delicious. You don't want to lose that. You don't have to add any water to this, just meat, salt, and pressure. That's all it needs. And then when it's done, it's going to look like this. This was our last deer that we processed, and you can see it's floating in lots of broth, and it was cold packed. And you cram as much meat as you can into these before you seal it up. Once it's done being pressured, I take my bands off. The lid is still on, and mark your date on that. And I think it's good for forever, but some people say it's only good for up to a year. To each their own. But anyway, that's what we do for our deer. You could also do that with chicken or beef if you got a really good deal at the store. Buy a couple extra, can it up, and then that way when you're running out of time but you really want to eat something home cooked because you know it's better for you than the crap served at any restaurant out there, including Chipotle's, go ahead and open this up, dump it in either a slow cooker or a pot on your stove, heat it up, saute some onions and some celery, put that in there, steam some carrots and potatoes, pop that in there, some rice, and you've got an amazing, amazing meal. Alrighty. Shalom.